Believe me, we've all been there. It's a close game, but you're behind. Maybe not in health, but certainly in tempo. Not only do you know the matchup, but you also respect your opponent. You know that if things keep going the way they are, that eventually you're done for. You're nearing the point that, unless you do something drastic, your only chance is hoping for your opponent to either dead draw or make a significant mistake. And the last time I checked, wishing and hoping was not a solid game plan. So today I want to talk about playing your outs, making a high-risk, high-reward gameplay move. So you have a good chance of losing, but losing a close game is still losing. In other words, you have nothing to lose. And hey, if you're going to lose anyway, playing your out, as risky as it may be, can often be the right decision. A huge shout out to our channel members for supporting what we do here. If you want to get involved with the channel and the Dice Commando community, please consider joining as a channel member. Remember, these videos are only possible with your support. You can show that support with a like, a subscribe, and by leaving us a comment and sharing your feedback. Community first, and go Commando. Hey there, Flesh and Blood folks. Welcome back to Dice Commando and Go Again, a fabulous cast. I am Andrew with you here as always. And you know what? Before we get started tonight, one thing I usually do on the intro is I'm like, thank you for tuning in. But what I really wanted to do tonight was, or before we get started tonight, I should say, is legitimately thank you for tuning in, right? It means a lot that you guys continue. Like, it's not just clicking on the video that has a great headline. So many of you guys keep coming back and listen to what this, I'm just a dude, right? Just a dude talking to a camera. And I really appreciate it. You guys are freaking awesome. And, you guys take this from a hobby to a lot more than that. And thank you for being you. And I hope that I enhance your enjoyment of this game just as much as you do of mine, right? So from the heart, tear on all that. But all jokes aside, thank you all. So tonight, is it a philosophy chat? Is it a tactical chat? Is it both? Yeah, right. Philosophical? Tactilosophy? I think I like philosophy. Anyway, now that we've wasted 2.5 minutes of video time, let's get in and talking about what we're actually here to talk about, which is making those high-risk, high-reward decisions in Fab. Now, the reason that I think it's worth talking about, right? I mean, most of us understand, the concept of, playing your outs, going on tilt, whatever it may be in gaming, but it shouldn't come as a surprise to anybody, because that's the reason a lot of us are here, is that Flesh and Blood it's different, but it also tactically plays different, right? So I think a lot of times, all right, let me restart. So this video was not inspired by a particular incident, but it was inspired collectively over years of doing gameplay video, both for this and other games. And a lot of times, as, say, the third-party viewer watching the video, you'll get a lot of comments or whatever reactions that are like, wow, that was a dumb move. Why did that person do that? And what one needs to understand, not necessarily you, because I know that you're not necessarily the one who made the comment, what one needs to understand is that there's a couple things happening there. One, you're the third-party person, and a lot of times in a game, you're not playing the game, you're playing the player, right? So they're making decisions based on what they think that person's going to do, not knowing what they have in their hand because you can see it from the top. Right. The other factor of that is predicting, and whether it was wrong or right, what that person's doing in the moment is they're trying to predict what's going to happen. Right. So a lot of times we'll see stuff where someone will make what looks to be a suboptimal play, and it may be a suboptimal play, but they're doing that because they think there's a reason to do that. Right. They're like, all right, for example, I'm Dorinthea versus Bravo. And Bravo's got the advantage, and he's just going to keep crushing me, and I'm not going to be able to get anything out. Or maybe a better example is like Azalea, or no, Boltyn. Yeah, that's a better example. Boltyn versus Bravo. I, as Boltyn, I need a 3-card hand, right? And Bravo keeps crushing me, and my options are to either block or take a crush effect, in which case I can't do what I wanted to do anyway, so I need to block. I think that's a fantastic example of being under the gun and needing to take a high risk, high reward decision, right? Because it's in that case, just like I mentioned, with Boltyn, you're like, well, I either need to hope Bravo gets all reds and can't crush me, and then I can come back clapping, or I just need to risk it, right? I just need to risk it. So that's really more what I'm talking about, because sometimes despite your best efforts, the game just isn't going to go your way. And if you're on track to lose anyway, like I'm saying, as risky as it may be, going in can oftentimes be the right decision. Now, I do want to talk about going on tilt, which is a term that people use a lot. And I do want to say in Flesh and Blood, like I talked about, Flesh and Blood's a little different of a game in that going on tilt in Flesh and Blood, I think, can be confused sometimes with making tactical plays, right? We all know that there's a lot of time. I mean, how many times have you made a pretty decent attack and your opponent's like, no block? And they just say it calmly, smoothly as possible, no block. And you're just like, aw, hell, I'm going to take a big hit next round, right? So that's, and right, in many cases, someone would be like, well, that was going on tilt, but it's not. That's a tactical play that your opponent's like, yep, I'm going to take 12 to the face, but I'm going to hit back for whatever and discard 2 cards, or whatever it may be, right? That is not going on tilt, right? Going on tilt, and that's why I say that kind of convolutes it a little bit, but my definition, at least, of going on tilt is, yes, you put some crazy risk in there, but tilt typically has a craziness associated with it, right? Meaning that your chance plays, you're doing those chance plays when there's no real reason to do it. As opposed to what I want to talk about tonight, now that we're, 5 minutes into the video, actually a little more, I want to talk about going in and playing your outs, because you're like, I'm going to lose anyway, so let's do that high risk, high reward decision, and if it goes my way, it does. If it doesn't, I lose by more, but who cares, right? So the example I just used going into this was our boy Boltyn, who just happens to be over there. It's almost like it was an accident. All right, so Raiden Boltyn, for example, well, not even Raiden. Let's be honest. Most Raiden builds need the Cintauri Saber build, granted, for some of its turns only needs 2, right? But at the very least, Boltyn needs 2 cards, right? So Boltyn has a choice to make. Like, say in the Bravo example, you're at like, let's say you're at like 17-ish health, right? So a Crippling Crush doesn't kill you, but you're pretty screwed, right? And you've got Lumina kind of set up, but you don't quite have it, right? Your options are to fully block the Crippling Crush and draw again and hope that they don't draw well, or you can take the hit fully, discard the 2 from the Crippling Crush, right? And then hope that you get your Lumina to clap back. Those are the options on the table. And playing your outs in many cases, right? Because you know that you're behind. You know that they have tempo because obviously he has enough cards to Crippling Crush out. And yes, under this assumption, we're assuming he's not dominating. I grant you that, right? But you know that if things keep going the way they're going, at the very least, he's going to clap back for 6 or something like that, which is going to cost you 2 more cards because you're getting close to death. You can't afford 2 cards if you're trying to pull off your Lumina combo, right? You guys are starting to follow, right? Or hopefully you're starting to follow. Hopefully I'm being clear. Hopefully this was the right example. Oh my God, what if it's not the right example? So much pressure, right? But hopefully you're starting to follow my line here, right? At some point you're like, if things keep going the way they are, Bravo's going to crush me. Right? And it may not be exactly the crush he needs, but he's going to be able to apply pressure such that he's eventually going to whittle me down. So I, as Boltyn, in that point, am going to make the choice, you know what? I'm going to take the crush. I'm going to discard 2 cards. I'm going to charge. I mean, obviously, there's tactical positions in that, hoping you have enough cards to charge with, right? Statistically, if you discard, I get it. Right? But you're going to say, I'm going to charge. We're going to draw up, and we're going to hope that I get what I need, right? that is not a bad play. That is what you needed in that time. Now, there are plenty of other examples out there. I want to talk about one from just this last weekend. And Adam, thank you for letting me use this example. So, this was a Blitz tournament that I was playing with. I was playing Kassai, and Adam was playing Chane. And there was a point at which, I don't remember the exact details. I think it was actually like round 2. But basically what happened is he drew very, very, very well. And he was going to be able to put in a massive amount of damage. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to full block. I'm going to block everything. Now, the problem with that versus Chane, as you guys know, especially in a Blitz match, well, it's probably worse than CC, to be fair. But in this case, giving Chane 4 cards in hand with 3 Soul Shackles is bad news. I mean, it's almost Fab 101 at this point. Like, you give them all the pitch they want with 3 Soul Shackles. Like, I still can't say Soul Shackle, whatever. But you guys get it, right? I was like, hey, this is either going to go, like, I'm already behind because I'm either going to take a boatload of damage and be behind, or I can block out. So I basically put my flag in the sand round 2 and said, okay, I'm going to fatigue you, right? Which is not the best option, right? I mean, again, that was not the best. Like, if you were looking at that on video, you'd be like, why is Andrew turtling round 2? It's a dumb decision. But based on what I had at the time, I knew that he was going to gain tempo. And I knew he was going to be able to continue to apply pressure. And based on the health he had, even if I did draw well, and I was able to stick something in, it was going to cost me the cards that I needed. So I basically, like I said, I planted my flag in the sand, and I was like, I'm going to fatigue you out, and that is the play now. And it did work out. I was able to get that game somehow. I don't know how. But again, firsthand example of sometimes you have to make a bad. Well, it's not making a bad decision. That's not the right statement, right? But sometimes you have to make a suboptimal decision in order to win Flesh and Blood. And it's interesting because I don't know that it's the same in every game, right? Because for many cases, like I said, in other games, you don't have quite the push and pull, right? A lot of times you get momentum swings, but in Flesh and Blood, you get the push and pull every time because you get to redraw on which base your resources and stuff like that, right? So you almost have more opportunities to play your outs in Flesh and Blood. The key is you have to play them at the right time. So what's the right time? Haha, my cop out here is it depends by deck. But realistically, most of the time you're going to want to play your out generally when you're in the teens of health, right? I mean, playing your out when you have 4 health left is not going to work out, right? So, if you figure out, and this will change over time as power creep happens, to be clear. But generally, mathematically, right? You assume a pitch card and 3 cards from hand for 3. So generally, you need to make your move. I think this is a fair statement. Generally, you need to make your move before, and by your move, I mean your play. Like, if you know you're behind, and I'm talking classic constructed here, by the way. Although, quite frankly, it's not that much different for Blitz because it's kind of the same functionally when you're on low health. But you need to make there's setup differences, right? And you need to respect that for your opponent. So I know I'm talking out of my head here, but I think it's around 9 health, right? By the time you get, let's just be safe and say 10 to 9 health. 9 to 10 health is when you need to plant your flag in the sand and be like, all right, it's either going to work out for me here or it's not. Because, again, if you get to the point where you only have 2-3 health left, risking it doesn't get you anything because you're going to be in full block mode no matter what, right? Because you're not going to be able to keep back what you wanted to. Yeah. Now, I do want to give you an example of when it doesn't work out. Right, so I was playing after the fact game just this last week against Wizard, and I did something. I was like, "This is near suicidal." I put in Arsenal a defense reaction. I know, but the reason I did that was because I knew my deck and I knew where my pitches were, and I needed to get more blues in hand. And statistically, the only way I was going to be able to get the only way I was going to be able to get more than 1 blue in hand statistically was if I drew 4 cards. So I put that defense reaction in my arsenal, knowing that my arsenal was screwed for the rest of the game. Now, it did not work out for me, but again, that was a very high risk, very bad decision, right? Like if some Monday morning quarterback was looking at that on video, they'd be like, what in the hell was Andrew doing? But the only thing I could have done with that card was pitch, assuming that pitch the next turn, assuming that I had something to pitch for. Right now, granted, I was playing Warrior, and I guess I could have pitched it for one swing, but Warriors, Wizards didn't care if they take the 2 health and they clap back for 14, right? So it was a risk-based decision. I knew I was behind. I knew I was going to lose. I knew he had opted and he had what he wanted, and I needed blues, right? So that was the gamble. And like I said, it didn't work out, but I don't think that was a bad play. I think that was playing my outs. So again here, folks, I can't go through every single example of what that may mean for you in your particular case, but what I want to encourage you to do is to not be afraid to take risks at the appropriate time, right? Taking risks early generally is not a good idea. You want consistency and repetitiveness early until you can figure out tempo, and at the point you realize where the game is, it's time to either shift conservative if you're ahead or shift aggressive if you're behind. That's my personal play style and my personal philosophy. And sometimes if you know, like I said, if you know you're going to lose, it's time to get crazy. So anyway, let me know what you guys think. Am I totally wrong about this? I mean, am I just sitting here trying to justify all the misplays on my stream? Maybe it's my own video. You know what? Shooting for the stars. Anyway. Just playing people. So anyway, thank you all for tuning in. I do want to remind everybody, pre-orders, Everfest is coming. It's pre-order time. My LGS is still pre-ordering everything for MSRP. I don't know why, but they are. It's crazy town, people. So my LGS, if you want to support them over some online retailer where you can't go play, at least you're supporting my LGS. Gongai Games, they freaking rock. You can use code Commando10 at checkout. I get nothing from that, but it keeps them in business and keeps me happy because I have a place to go play, as well as many other people. So go check them out. Also, Travis over at Fab Foundry, the guy rocks, has his own LGS. Actually, he's associated with 2 LGSs because he's wheeling and dealing. He's a crazy guy. But no, he's freaking awesome. And if you use the link below when you go to checkout to get all those singles after you crack all your boxes, and hopefully get everything you wanted to anyway. But if you didn't and you need to fill it out, go check out Travis. I do get a kickback from that. So thank you very much. So anyway, folks, let me know what you thought about tonight's cast. Am I off base? I don't think I am, but you can let me know. Anyway, go Commando.